Hello, my name's James Hunter, and this is my 2 Cents channel where I talk about topics from physical fitness, mental health, wellness, and just topics I may want to discuss. And today in this short video I'm making, I want to talk about, this time of the year, it's a political year. There's going to be an election to see whether Donald Trump will remain the president of the United States or if someone else may be elected to be president. So as of each election year, when the debates are going to come up between, it'll be President Trump if he's likely not going to be impeached. It's not going to get confirmed, and he's going to be going up against whoever the Democrats pick as far as their nominee. So you're going to have those debates and the back and forths going on in terms of the discussions that come afterwards. People, whether it's at the water cooler, if you will, at work, while people are taking their breaks, or whether it's maybe with your family at the gym, wherever. I see it in different situations where inevitably there will be those individuals who are going to discuss politics, and a lot of times it's not always nice, and you'll see people who will quit talking. I've seen friendships that will kind of go sour or maybe even end altogether because of being sore about whether the candidate that they supported didn't win during that election season. So what do I mean when I say I don't waste my energy on it? I don't say that to be a smartass or to be petty or to be antagonistic towards people who may be passionate about politics. I'm 48. I'll be not before too long this year. I'll be 49 in about less than 5 months. So at this stage in my life, no, I don't lose any sleep about whether John Doe or Jane Doe or people I know through different scenarios or situations, regardless of how close they may be to me or not. I'm not going to lose too much sleep on which presidential candidate they support and vote for, whether they are Republican or Democrat. I may disagree with them on policy issues, social issues, and so on. Especially the social ones can really be real red button issues and things when you talk about things that emotionally can bring up a lot of passion in people, like the pro-life and pro-choice debate that you will hear about pretty much every election season. So for myself, when I was younger, yeah, I would sometimes take a bit of the bait sometimes, if you will, and then I would lay out, why, I had my beliefs, and I'd lay down, my case, and, I'd put some energy into it, and I may even cite some facts and sources, and I may even give, my examples of my rationale. I may even give some, examples to support my points that I'm making. And then at the end of the day, more times than not, usually most of the time, that person you're having the discussion with, they're not going to change the way they think. They're going to continue to hold on to their belief system they have. And there's something to be said about cognitive dissonance, which I can talk about in a different video. But what happens is, you deal with people who have very powerful influencers, their culture, the way they grew up. Now, I will say that people can change, and they do change. And like myself, I'm more of an independent, maybe a bit libertarian, depending on how the discussion is going and what we're talking about. But as I've gotten older, I would say I've been more open-minded and more flexible in terms of my views, that they're not so rigid necessarily, that I have an appreciation, or I look at the context of the larger picture. When I look at a lot of these issues that are not necessarily black and white, that's why I tend to say I'm an independent, as far as I'm not one of these people that will pull just a straight party ticket, Republican or Democrat. I have voted for candidates are Democrat, Republican, and Independent. So on Facebook, let's use Facebook as an example. So I guess I've been on Facebook since it first started, maybe a year or two after it started. So I've been on for a while. You get the idea. Now, initially, yeah, I may occasionally, one of my friends, or a post that was a bit of a political discussion in terms of an issue during election season, or let's say it's about foreign policy, or it's pro-life, or it's about taxes, or immigration. Pick an issue, and you will hear, or you'll read, persons supporting their position, and then in the comments, people arguing and debating why they disagree, or why this person's wrong, or they'll be pulling up all the dirt on a particular candidate of things that came out in the media, or something like when George W. Bush's DWI came out, and of course with Trump in his past election with a lot of his indiscretions that came out when he was video, caught on basically video recorded saying, saying how he grabbed women's private parts and so on. So these type of things will come out, and people will just like start slamming the other side, saying things about that candidate, and therefore that discredits their candidate because of the behavior. And then you will hear people point out equivalent behaviors of candidates on the other side that are indiscretion type things that can be considered that don't look well. However, you'll see the double standard come out, but because it's their candidate, then that candidate's indiscretions, if you will, that they just pretend they didn't hear it, or they ignore it, or they have a double standard. And both sides are guilty of this, by the way. I have friends that are Republican, Democrat, they both do it. They have a double standard for a lot of the criticisms. So the point I'm making is that you see a lot of back and forth, and people getting heated. There's a lot of there's a lot of investment into people's beliefs, so there's a powerful emotional connection. So you have that tied into discussions where you may present more of the central route, like just providing facts and information to try to make your point. The problem is that people's reason and logic can be overridden by emotion and passion, and becoming upset and angry, to where now they're operating emotionally and not based on reason. And you'll see that play out on Facebook. You'll see it play out in person. And so because I understand this, I just don't get involved in that. If on my I guess timeline, or anything that's going to be in the news feed on Facebook, if someone's following me, they'll see posts about maybe health, wellness, maybe some jokes. I post photos of myself and what I'm up to, and I'll have discussions with people, but I don't get into political discussions very much, if at all. I might have more of an objective, diplomatic way of discussing things, where I just try to say something that is positive in the benefit of everyone. And I don't get into religion and those types of things either much anymore. I've known in the past I may have kind of went there a few times with some opinions, but I just kind of through experience has taught me that it's best just to you can have discussions maybe in more formal situations. I think debates that are formal debates that people agree to are great. Have a moderator and do it in a forum which can be productive and actually a lot of fun too. But situations like Facebook, it's just a free-for-all. It's not really a structured situation, and you have people that are trolls that just go in there to stir shit up and so on. So when it's all said and done, you can see individuals, and I'll read the just out of curiosity, just kind of like an experiment, as far as studying human behavior. It's not that, oh, let me get into this debate. No, I will see like, whatever, 100 comments or 80 comments or whatever it is, and sometimes more than 100. It can get pretty involved, and I'll open all the comments, and I'll kind of follow from the beginning, and then you'll see people, rebuttaling each other with why this person's wrong when they're supporting their philosophies and political views. Boom, 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 boom. You'll see them go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And finally, I'm looking at the timeline, and all like, these people just spent, 2, 3 hours, 4 hours of their day going back and forth, probably while they're at work, or they stopped while they're eating, or they might have just been doing that on their day off. Who knows? But a lot of time is invested in that, and a lot of time is lost. It really is. So if it is maybe cathartic for you, or you feel better because you're getting to speak your mind, okay, that's one thing that that can be a point a person may have to justify why they're going to invest a lot of time just arguing with people whom they're typically not going to change that person's mind. But if your motivation is simply, I'm supporting my candidate, and I'm going to go out there and talk smack back to all these people that are that don't support my ideas and my candidate, I'm going to get on there and be the keyboard warrior. At the end of the day, if you haven't changed the other people's mind, or that individual's mind you're having the debate with, all he really accomplished was, I guess, just an exercise in debate, or whatever that did for you. But from a change in people's mind standpoint, typically it doesn't happen like that. Not most of the time from what I've seen. I do think I think people over time, um, as they become more open to information, facts, and considering other perspectives, points of views, and considering that perhaps information they had in the past might not have always been correct, and perhaps there may be a different way. Usually people changing their minds or arriving at having a shift in their belief system is usually a process. It's a gradual developmental process over a period of time. I know some of my beliefs, if you want to look at things in politics, were not overnight in one day. It for sure was not in a debate on Facebook with somebody who was a troll, was trolls or whatever, or just maybe somebody you went to high school with or worked with, and you're having back and forth, about the candidates for president or Senate or Congress or your governor, whatever state you're from, or hell, it might even be civil or just local, on the local level where you live at the mayor, right? So these types of things, in my opinion, people changing their minds does not happen that quickly. Sometimes a life-changing event, like maybe let's say someone has something traumatic happen, a death in the family, family members murdered, killed by a drunk driver. Traumatic events may change people's political beliefs more quickly because now you have something that's going to be more emotionally affected, and it's going to drive change quicker based on that situation. But typically, most people, and I know myself, my beliefs as they've changed and developed, it happened over time, not in just one debate with a person, and certainly not necessarily on Facebook. Maybe some YouTube videos though. I'm just playing on that. It wasn't YouTube videos necessarily that got me to change my beliefs. It's just a lot of reading. Yeah, you can watch documentaries on certain issues to get some of your information, but just doing your research through different mediums and media, getting a good overall perspective when you do research. So those are just some of my thoughts. So when I say I don't distract myself with politics, or I don't waste my energy and time on it, I don't say that to mean that I don't care. Yeah, of course I have my beliefs, and there's things I care about, but at the end of the day, all I can do is make an informed decision of what candidate, um, the platform they're running on, and the likelihood that they're going to be able to implement that, and what's going to be the best case scenario in terms of what I think is going to do the greatest amount of good, right? Utilitarianism is, people want to look at it that way, and and vote for that individual. And if they win, that's great. Let's find out what's going to happen, how much may change, how it shifts the country, and so on. And if they don't win, then you know what? I'm still going to get up and live my life and do the best I can. And whether your candidate wins or not, whether you're Republican, Democrat, either party, independent, whatever, regardless of who's in control, Senate, Congress, who's the president, at the end of the day, you decide when you get up every day how you're going to treat the person in front of you, how you treat people. That's up to you. It doesn't matter who the president is, what difference you want to make in the world as far as trying to do your job well. Whatever it is you have a passion for it at your job, hobbies, whatever you're involved in, is volunteering, whatever it is, whatever passions you're following in life, that doesn't have to change just because of who becomes president. There might be policy issues that, yeah, it can affect certain people in terms of what their belief system is. They may not agree with certain things that do change in the country, but I don't think 100% of the people are always going to get what they want 100% of the time anyways. You have a lot of competing goals out there, a lot of competing desires, a lot of competing goals, and a lot of people, right? So what's the likelihood that 100% of the time everybody gets what they want? I don't think so. So I think that's just part of learning how to live with other people, and we talk about tolerance, and a lot of these things that get brought up. Tolerance is fine and dandy when your ideals are supported, but as soon as maybe your candidate doesn't win, then all of a sudden the idea of this tolerance, it's like where does that go? It should still be in place if you truly believe that, regardless of who becomes president, as far as these things we talk about. You hear things like hate crimes and tolerance and civility and so on. But both parties, Democrats and Republicans, have been guilty of doing things as far as what they say about the other candidates, their behavior, and how they act, and so on and so on and so on. So that's it. Those are just some of my thoughts. Will I watch the debates? Yeah, I'll watch them. Am I going to have arguments um, with people the next day over it and what I thought? No, I'm not going to waste my energy on that. Now, I will say, for the reasons I mentioned before, because people are usually committed on who they're going to vote for and who they believe, and they rarely change too much. That's going to happen for a variety of reasons over time. So when Trump ran for president against Hillary Clinton, I will say that was a history being made because never before, actually, when the Republican primaries, the way Trump just you know handled the other Republican candidates, I mean, that was history being made as far as how a lot of them he embarrassed. I mean, he just really kicked their butts in the debates. He wasn't afraid to hold back, and it worked for him. The other candidates, they looked foolish trying to, they couldn't really succeed in trying to, everything they did backfired, and it just made him stronger as far as people even going to vote for him more. So to me, that was it's more than just, yeah, you want to hear the issues, but let's be honest, this is a form of entertainment too. I mean, it was fun seeing Trump, call Jeb Bush low energy, and the Ted Cruz and little Marco, and I mean, come on, I know the president is serious business, but it's what it is. It's sometimes we gotta laugh a little bit sometimes. And politicians, don't forget, they're people. They put their pants on one leg at a time. And if you think that that's not how they can be, well, you're wrong. They are like that. They just keep it a little bit more pulled back when they're behind that camera. So anyways, if you have any thoughts or comments about how you behave or how you handle yourself during a very political year when it's a presidential election year, what are your thoughts on that? Do you do a lot of stress? Do you find yourself having difficulty getting along with people at work, and so on and so on? So until I make another video later this week, or for sure this weekend, something on physical fitness probably, I hope you have a good rest of the week and take care. Thank you.